You're about to watch a module from my social protocol course for free. If you want the full course, which it's genuinely my best piece of work, you can check out the top link in the description and you can get it from there. 93% of communication is non-verbal. That means the last module that was talking about what to say in a conversation and make statements and all of that, that only accounted for basically 7% of your entire speaking skills. Your results and how people see you and interact with you, and if people like you or not and even want to befriend you, 93% of that is not going to be based on what you say. I'm sure you've heard the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You understand, right? It's also called the 7-38-55 rule. 7% is on what you're saying, the importance of it in speaking. 38% is based on your tonality. And a whopping 55% is based on your body language. Now you can't see my body right now because I kind of messed up the recording here and I didn't have a good angle. So right now you're only really seeing my face and my hands that I'm moving to my face purposely so you can see, even though normally they'd be around here. But obviously I need to raise them higher so you can actually see them. But that basically means 55% of my communication is invisible to you because you can't see my body language. You can't see how I'm sitting or what I'm really doing with my hands, because like I'm moving both of my hands, but I don't normally raise them up here. I'm not fighting, bro. 55% of me speaking to you is just nullified. I'm going to explain to you how you can actually maximize these though. And the thing about this is it's so important, but it's the hardest part to teach because it comes so intuitively. Like body language, it's such a vague term and it encompasses different parts, like how do you sit, what's your posture like, but also it's difficult to teach because everyone has a different set of habits and mannerisms, and I don't want to go against that. I want you to follow your social compass. So if I tell you to sit like me, I just have a ton of clones of me and it won't be authentic to you. How I sit is authentic to me. How you sit might not really be authentic to you right now, but copying me might not even be authentic to you either. So I'm going to try and explain this best I can, but I want you to also understand in all of this, really try and filter this information. Do what you really believe is authentic to you. So if you sit in a certain way, if you really like sitting upright like this, like a robot, I don't, it feels quite uncomfortable, but if for some reason you do and it feels so much more relaxed and comfortable for you than sitting all relaxed like this, right? Do it. I'm not gonna tell you to sit in a certain way if it genuinely feels really bad for you, if the way you're sitting right now isn't too bad. But most people have really butchered body language and tonality just because they were raised at a young age to kind of be this way. You know, in school you're kind of taught in certain ways that's messed up. So I'm going to explain to you how to really train your body language first, because that's 55%. Let's start off with the biggest factor, body language. Body language is composed of different parts. I'm just going to give you the most important parts. First of all, your posture and how you sit. How should you sit? There's not one defined way. You just need to sit and have a posture in a way that's comfortable and relaxed, which is the most important thing. You need to be relaxed. A lot of people sit very tense. They sit tense and they don't move when they want to move. I heard this at one point. The most comfortable posture, you know what it is? It's the one where you're moving. There's no 100% proper posture. You'll see on YouTube these gurus who'll tell you, oh, sit like this, it's perfect for health and whatever. No, it's not. That's BS. The best posture is the one that you're moving in. If you feel itchy here, Don't be sitting like this trying not to move. No, itch it. If you really feel like tensing your back, then stand up and do some stretches. You don't need to, that's probably not good for recording. You don't need to sit in a certain way. You don't need to sit still and stern and really tense. In fact, it's better if you move. So the best posture is the one that you're relaxed and comfortable in. And you see certain people sit in different ways, but it's okay to sit in any way that's comfortable for you. But also make sure, this is another small tip, make sure you're trying to take up more space than you normally would, because most people are very docile because of how school has taught them and how the society in the modern day has taught them. And because of that, most people will sit in a very, very reserved way. They'll sit in a way where you can't really see this, but your legs are squashed together, your balls, this sounds a bit grotesque, but your testicles literally don't have space, which is extremely unhealthy for you. They sit with their hands really close together, trying not to take up space. They sit like a woman. Right? No, spread out your legs more. Manspreading. People will say manspreading is bad. Don't even worry about that. Manspread. Take up as much space as you need. Now, obviously, don't be all annoying. Like, if you're sitting with other people next to you, don't be like pushing them back and be like, I need so much space. Huh? No, I'm sitting. This is what Prince told me to do. Shut up. Don't do stupid things like that, but just take up as much space as you need. Spread your legs out as much as you want to, move your hands out more. And sometimes that will mean you are in closer proximity with the other people around you. But guess what? First of all, most other people are docile again, and they aren't watching what you're watching. So they'll just move like this immediately because they're like, oh, this guy, he's taking up more space. I need to scrunch up when they don't. And second of all, unless you're actively disrupting them, it's not bad to be accidentally touching the people next to you because they're just sitting too close, right? That's just what happens. If two people sit right next to each other, you're gonna end up touching each other inadvertently, not in a weird gay way. So that's completely natural. So sit in a way that's comfortable. The way you're sitting right now, as you're watching this video, in the comfort of your home. What does that feel like for you? Is that comfortable? Do that outside. Do that when you're around people. Do that forever. Except if you are squashing your balls and if you are really reserved, then you should rewire that. That is not natural in any regard. So sit more comfortable. And that could be in any form. That could be, I see some people literally sitting, I don't know if you can even see this, but like sitting with their back completely to the chair and just being like, this is a bad posture, I believe. It's not bad in the way that it does not look good socially, but it's just bad for your health. So you probably wouldn't do that. But if you do like laying back like this more, so be it. If you like sitting up straight more, so be it. As long as you are sitting in a comfortable way for you and you're taking up more space, completely fine. You may test some things. Maybe you hear some guy saying sitting upright is better. Maybe you try that. And it's not really about confidence or social skills. You just want to try it. That's still completely fine. And even when you're walking, it's the same thing. Walk in any way you want. Right? I see some people walking with swagger. I've always really liked that style of walk. So I purposely started walking that way myself because I wanted to walk with swagger. It looks really cool. I see all these celebrities do it. So I started doing that, like moving your torso a little bit. And I started doing it. And at first it was a bit unnatural, but I wasn't doing it for social validation. I was just doing it because I thought it was cool. And that's how I wanted to walk. And eventually I'm at the point now where it's just the natural way I walk. You don't need to do that. Maybe you don't care how you walk. Maybe you just like walking like normal, It doesn't matter. Just make sure, again, you walk with a level of confidence and you aren't walking like all slouched and looking down. That's quite important. Make sure you're looking forward. Make sure you aren't being reserved. Take up more space. That's the main rule of seeming confident. Being relaxed And when you are relaxed, you naturally take up more space, just like how you are as probably right now. You probably don't care about your posture right now as I'm sitting here, unless maybe you heard me talking about it and you suddenly straightened up because you're like, oh, I'm being called out. But no, when you're outside, the basis of posture is just take up more space. When you're walking, look up, look ahead of you, look around. Don't be all fast and twitchy. Another thing is just to keep your hands out of your pockets. It seems like a small thing. I believe you should keep your hands out of your pockets though, just because it's a bit, first of all, you naturally have a more closed body language when your hands are in your pockets. But also, it's just a bit intimidating, especially in the modern world, and you see all of this news of people being stabbed and whatever. When somebody goes up to you who you don't know, who has their hands in their pockets, especially if it's like a hoodie, which can hide a lot of stuff, right? You see people pulling out like 19-inch machetes out of a hoodie. It's very intimidating, and your guard is immediately up. It might just be me. Maybe I'm just some crazy guy who's like, oh, warrior, I'm living a hard life, warrior, I'm fighting all these people, you know? But I think a lot of people, even just subconsciously, will have less trust towards somebody with their hands in their pockets. So keep your hands out of your pockets. Of course, it depends on the context. If it's like a really cold and rainy day, you don't need to. But it's just a piece of advice to keep this open body language. Now, eye contact. This is actually very simple. Last time, I explained it in a way that was a bit too vague. So this course right now, I've remade it like 3-4 times entirely because I wanted to give you the best advice. And for some reason, I kept, like old me, kept butchering up the explanation for eye contact and made it so convoluted and complicated. I'm going to tell you right now, the best thing to do with eye contact is just to look at them in the eyes. That's it. That's really it. I kept making it complex because I wanted to make sure you don't look at people in the eyes too much. Because what will happen when you try and do to make more eye contact is you'll start staring at people weirdly. But you can look at someone in the eye as much as you are conversing with them. If you are speaking to somebody, there is zero reason why it would be weird to look them in the eye. Unless they obviously point there and say, oh, look at that. Or obviously, if you're still looking at them in the eye when they said, look at that, it's a bit. So make more eye contact. And to do that, there's no piece of advice. You just keep it in your mind. And this is something that you might have heard in the Quest modules if you've looked at them yet. But in order to improve, you just have to keep one of these things in your mind and do it. So you aren't I'm not expecting you to watch this course and suddenly you pop out knowing all of this and being able to do it all automatically. You'll need to do it consciously at first, and you can't do that many things consciously at once. Like thinking, okay, body language, okay, eye contact, okay, social compass. Now I need to command my legs. I can't expect you to do that all at once. I didn't. You just do it one at a time, right? Maybe the first thing you focus on is just going up to people and saying hello. Maybe that's all you can do. That's taking up all of your mental capacity and bandwidth. But later on, now you're starting to have more conversations. Maybe the next thing you start doing is trying to make eye contact every time you have a conversation. Let's say you're going above and beyond. You're having like 5 different conversations a day because you go out so frequently. Every time you're on a conversation, you keep it in your mind to just make more eye contact, and you keep looking at them in the eye as you speak to them. And that's just what you keep in your mind. That's how you'll improve, and then that'll become automatic, and you decide, okay, I notice my body language isn't too good, and you start improving that. That's how you'll improve. If you've ever watched my YouTube channel, I'm not sure if you have, if you look at the old videos, I kept looking away from the camera, and it wasn't because of anxiety. I've never really felt anxiety recording, but just naturally I kept looking down and away and whatever. You might have even noticed it in this recording, although I did it a bit more purposely in this recording. But what I started to do is I just started to keep it in my mind, okay, make more eye contact. As I was reviewing my videos, I realized, okay, it's a problem, I need to fix it. So I kept keeping it in my mind, make more eye contact, make more eye contact. And every time I'd record a video, I'd try and look directly at the camera, which was a bit difficult because the camera doesn't look that interesting. It's not like someone is looking back at me. It's just this small black dot. It takes a bit of focus. But I kept doing it and I kept doing it. And eventually, it became more natural. You'll probably notice the improvement. I started looking at the camera more, and that might have actually improved the way you took the content. It may actually hit your heart more just because I'm looking directly at you, even though I'm just looking at a camera, obviously. You also want to move your hands. So moving your hands is an aspect of body language, and I believe this is the thing. The last two that I'm going to give you are a bit more subjective. But I believe moving your hand is one of the more agreed upon things. I think everyone should move their hands. This is just something that you see in every good communicator. They move their hands. It just helps a lot because it makes you more expressive. I've met people who are overly expressive. They express themselves in these ways which aren't nice at all because it seems fake, right? You don't want to be overly expressive and be like, like you aren't a cartoon character. That seems so fake. It seems, the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't want you to become overly expressive and start faking how you act. Again, follow your social compass. Authenticity is a very huge part of communication, because you won't enjoy it if you aren't authentic. So really, if you do not want to express yourself too much for whatever reason, maybe that's just not the type of person you are, then you might not move your hands as much. You might not make huge gestures, but try and move your hands a little bit. I believe it is quite an important part. You'll improve this through just trying to do it again. Keep it in mind. I remember before I used to never move my hands as I spoke, but then I started recording videos and I'd keep it in mind to move my hands, and I don't know if you can even see me moving my hands from here, but as you can see, I'm moving my hands without even thinking. And the reason why I can do that is because I started practicing consciously. A big part of improving my body language, which may give you some insight, was recording videos. I'd have YouTube, which kind of was an outlet for that, but I'd record videos on YouTube, and through those videos, I'd analyze them. I'd look at what I was doing wrong, right, and I'd try and improve more and more. That would help me improve my body language, my tonality, my speaking skill, everything about me. And you can try the same thing. You can start recording videos, and you don't need to post them, but you can just get your phone, put it on a tripod, and just press record. Let's talk about any topic for 5-10 minutes and watch it back. See what you can improve on. Through doing that, you naturally become better at doing it more and more. There's not much advice I can give you with body language except watch good communicators that you like and try and copy their body language, because body language can come in many different ways, and it all kind of shows the type of person who's speaking. So you see some people with body language and they only move one hand. You rarely see them move two, and they just move one hand like this, like a wand almost. You see some people who move two hands and they are very expressive. What was that guy's name? Like Ving something? Anyways, there's some communicator, YouTube guy. He does that quite a lot. You see all of these different people. Look at the people you like and just copy them. And if you don't know any, you can just search it up, like good communicators on YouTube, and you'll find some. It's very simple. Presidents, celebrities, a lot of these very famous people have good communication because it's one of the reasons as to how they actually got so famous. And the last thing for body language is to smile. Smiling is so underrated. Barely anyone smiles nowadays. Everyone is so depressed. And this is more of an optional one because I get that some people aren't really that smiley. There's a lot of people who are like, more, what do you call it? Like nonchalant, right? And if you genuinely, authentically are, then sure. Personally, I'm quite a smiley guy, if you could tell. And I smile quite a lot. I literally, like, a way you can smile more is something that I did as I just forced myself to smile. Just manually command the muscle fibers in your face to smile. And then what happens is you actually start smiling naturally without even trying. And you start smiling more and more. And before you know it, even little things cause you to smile because you're so used to smiling all the time. So I'll literally do something. I will record this course. Right, I'm recording these videos, and after the session of recording, I'll finish the session and I'll just be thinking positive thoughts. I'll be thinking, wow, that was such a good session. This course is really gonna change somebody's life, and I'll genuinely start feeling happy and I'll just start smiling. And when I force myself to smile when I'm happy, I'll end up smiling when I'm happy naturally, which is what happens to me now. When I'm happy, I'll smile. A lot of people, when they're happy, they don't smile. Right? A lot of people have that. So you'll smile and you feel happy, and you genuinely won't smile just because your body doesn't have this association that happiness means smile, or smile means happiness. So if you want to smile more, like me, what I'd recommend is you just smile more throughout the day. Just force yourself to smile. I remember there was a period where every time I'd go outside, I'd force myself to have this big grin, and I'd do this, and it was a bit tricky. Like, I do it when I'm walking around places where there were other people, but it started hurting my cheeks because I was doing it so much. And I was like, oh, wow, smiling so much actually kind of hurts. This is like an exercise. I don't want to do this anymore. So I just stopped. But besides that, it was actually a really good exercise because every time I'd smile, I'd start thinking about the absurdity of me smiling when it's just so random, and I'd start actually smiling for real. So you just become a happier guy in general. And it's easier to smile naturally. So I'd start trying to come up with ways to make myself actually smile. I could start thinking, oh man, I'm so grateful for the trees. The sky is so nice. Oh, it's raining. I love the rain. I'm so glad it's raining. I wanted an atmosphere like this, cognitive reframing. And that would make me smile actually. Basically, if you want to smile more, if you want to be happier more, just think positive thoughts. It's that simple. If you authentically aren't the type of person to do that, if you genuinely and really ask yourself if that's genuinely who you are, because I do understand some people are different, again, personalities. If you don't want to do that, then stick to what you are personally aligned with and attuned to. Because again, if you smile a lot when naturally you aren't the type of person who's so outgoing and all of this, then I just wouldn't really recommend it to you. It wouldn't feel authentic. There are a lot of celebrities who just don't smile all too much. And that's completely fine. They just have different ways of speaking. It doesn't mean they aren't confident or they don't have friends. They still have friends. They still are confident. They still have social connections and get attraction from a ton of women. It's just that they don't smile as much, which is, sure, so be it. But it is a lot easier to attract people when you smile. I've seen this time and time again. When you smile, people just like you so much more because it seems like you are already living a fun, happy, fulfilling life. So when you smile like this, people look at you, and this is something I've noticed. When people see you smiling, even if you aren't looking at them, they'll smile immediately. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this, but you see someone smiling and you just smile back at them. You don't even know why they're smiling. You just naturally, intrinsically smile back. It's a human, biological, evolutionary reaction. So smiling gets other people to smile. And imagine opening up a conversation with someone who's already smiling at you. Imagine how much easier that must be. It's so much easier to talk to someone who's already smiling at you than someone who's already kind of looking moody. So smiling is a huge advantage. I've noticed it so much. You smile and people will look at you and their faces will bright up, men and women alike. So it's a huge advantage. But if you don't want to, again, you don't need to. We've covered body language. That makes up 55% of communication. What about tonality though? That's 38%. What does tonality even mean? Tonality is just the way you're speaking. So if you hear my voice right now, throughout the course of this video, there's been a lot of different fluctuations and variances. This is a recording, so I probably should sit a bit more upright, but you'll notice there's a lot of variances and fluctuations throughout my voice. I'm not just talking in one level or monotone like this. And I'm not just talking in a monotone voice because it's kind of boring and you probably wouldn't really like it much. And it seems like I'm not even passionate about this topic of socializing. And I just want to get this over with, so it's over. That was my best impression of talking monotonely. You see a lot of people speaking like that. You should never really speak like that. And if you speak in a monotone way, again, people will be less interested in you because you seem more boring. So you don't want to have a monotonous voice. But the thing is, most people actually do have natural tone because that's just how the voice works. The voice is quite good at picking up on tones. That's the reason why you can hum different melodies so easily. So tone isn't really something that most people struggle with. I did struggle with it though. And I heard a lot when I was recording YouTube videos from friends that my tone in my YouTube videos seemed angry for some reason, and my facial expression for some reason was negative, and it seemed like I hated life even though obviously I didn't. So I was like, shit, how do I fix that then? So I started practicing with tone. I got some advice from different guys. And I came to the conclusion after fixing my tone that it just comes down to practice. Again, if you record yourself and you practice different tones, you fix it. Guaranteed. If you analyze yourself and you make changes and you analyze yourself again and you make changes and you keep doing this every day, just once a day, that takes 5-10 minutes. It's so easy to change and fix everything about your communication skills. So in order to deal with tone, I would recommend recording, but also just keep it in mind to vary your tone because fluctuation is the most important thing. A monotonous voice is just when your voice is at the same level at all times. So if you just fluctuate your tone, and this can be in many ways, the volume, you'll talk louder at certain points. Sometimes you'll talk quieter. Maybe you're talking about a more serious topic and you won't put in as much energy because it's actually quite a deep topic that you don't want other people to know. So you'll talk in a more, you could call it regretful. My voice doesn't match my tone. But you'll talk in different ways depending on what you're speaking about. So if you're speaking about something sad, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, my mother died today. Because that sounds psychopathic. That sounds psychopathic. You will talk in a mood that matches it, right? You'll talk quieter. You will put in a bit less attention into your voice. Tone kind of just symbolizes energy. That's what I've found. When you talk with more volume and you talk with more variance, it symbolizes more energy. Like you open your body language. This happened and I'm so excited. And when you talk with a lower volume and you talk with, I guess you could call it less variance, it sounds sadder. It sounds more like you don't actually really care. This often happens when you've just woken up. When you wake up, you have a tone that's just kind of monotonous in a way, but it's also just lower. Like you don't care about anything. You just don't care. You just woke up and you don't want to hear anyone. You just want to be alone for the first few hours of the day. Shut up. That's how you feel sometimes. Or when you're really tired and sleep deprived, that happens also. So if you want to improve your tone, be healthy. That's a big thing. I often have quite bad tone when I'm really tired and I have eaten tons of bad food or whatever because I just don't care. I don't feel good enough to be speaking with all of this variance. You may not understand this well because I did say 93% of communication is non-vocal, but you're still probably caught up in what to say. Most people are, that's understandable, but really, I want you to understand that the reactions you get from people are simply based off of this. Right? To continue the conversation, to learn things and whatever. Yeah. It's communication, having words, knowing what to say, which is statements. You've learned that. But again, you're speaking to people, one, to become more confident with his words, but also because you want to make friends and you want to have nice, pleasant conversations and be able to take these opportunities and to make people like you. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're improving your social skills, I believe, at least. I may be wrong. But for most of you here, that's the reason. And if you want to do that, if you want to make friends and attract women and speak to all of these people and have nice, blossoming relationships, the goal is to make them like you. And if you talk in a very monotonous voice and you don't put any attention into this, you won't get the result. And even continuing conversations with statements will be harder because people won't want to continue the conversation with you because you seem so boring. You see how it's very important how much people actually want to engage with you when you're speaking. So this is 10 times more important than just the words you say. Really, don't underestimate the power of tone.